Welcome to the Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. Every week, we're going to bring you powerful stories and strategies from leaders who are making a real impact by building stronger, more resilient communities. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools to thrive in both your personal and professional life. Hello, welcome to the Rise Together weekly podcast series, part of the Foundation for Family and Community Healing. I'm Sana Calvert, and today I'd like to introduce my guest, Linda Haywood, Recruiting Program Director at the Regal Group, Inc. So welcome to Rise Together podcast, Linda. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It is my delight to be here.
Well, likewise. So can you just start by giving us a little overview of what your business does or what your work is, and why did you get into this work?
Sure, absolutely. So, Regal Group Inc. is a small woman owned business that focuses on two facets of the aging population. So, one is retirement planning services, and the other is navigating Medicare and Medicare supplements. So, my focus is on the world of navigating Medicare and Medicare supplements in the sense that I am recruiting agents to join our firm. How I got into this, I don't think that anybody necessarily, well, maybe these days there are, people who specifically target recruiting degrees, or I mean careers. But back in the day when I got started, this is 20 years ago, I kind of fell into it. And I found that I really enjoyed it. It was a career that stuck with me. It has served me well for 20 plus years. This is a different type of recruiting for me because I have historically focused on technical recruiting, but it aligns well with the type of, I guess, mindset that I bring to the industry, which is helping people. And that's what these agents do. They help people. So I'm excited to see how my career it specifically develops, but also how Regal Group grows as a result of my recruiting efforts.
Yeah, there's so many important jobs like yours that are out in the community that many of us just never even think about. And I know with our young people, we just hear about the major jobs, teachers, lawyers, physicians, nurses, firefighters, that kind of thing. And yet there's so many other jobs that work in support of the most obvious things that you never even think about. So that's really great. So can you tell us a little bit about what that role's like and why this is so rewarding for you?
Sure, absolutely. So um, Regal Group has been around for about 22 years. It was started by a husband and wife team. They have focused all of their career on kind of a similar mindset, helping people. And it's kind of like if you do things right, if you treat people right, the rest will come.
Hmm.
This role specifically offers me the opportunity to do two things. One is recruiting, which, as I mentioned, I've enjoyed for a while now. But also, in recent years, prior to joining Regal Group, I got into project and program management. So, having the ability to come in and immediately add impact in terms of helping the company by working with their marketing manager, make sure that they're clear on their, I guess, their messaging, what their culture is, what their social media, making sure that their social media reflects that, making sure that we're targeting the right people with the right message. Has been really rewarding, and the opportunity to leverage some additional skills beyond my recruiting skills.
Hmm. Yeah, so you're helping to define the company culture and communicate that and identify people who are a good fit, who can then be successful and more impactful as a result. Is that about right?
That is correct. And I mean, I guess the way I would paraphrase that is to say that it's working to identify the culture that supports um, employees thriving. It's not just having a culture, it's not just having, well, we offer these things. It's what are the things that we have identified as helping support the people that we're bringing into the organization thrive, because at the end of the day, that's what we want. But then, in addition to that, developing a robust retention program. I learned a long time ago, if I'm not taking care of my people, somebody else is happy to do that. So
Yeah. Okay, so it's less about naming the culture, but it's also about creating it. And so is that hard to get management buy-in and employee buy-in to these culture development initiatives?
I'm very fortunate in that management is thrilled to have somebody identifying these things, bringing it to their attention, but also helping them create some structure around that. So it has not been difficult for me.
Well, it sounds like you've done a great job at creating the culture you need so that you can create the culture you need. So congrats.
Thank you very much.
So so what are the things you put into place to create this culture where people want to stay and feel supported?
So, great question. And part of that is that as a small company, we are very budget constrained. So, it's not like we can build out, for example, a robust employee rewards program. However, identifying what is important to the folks that we are looking to bring on board to help them have a culture in which to thrive include things like flexibility, transparency, empowering autonomy, encouraging innovation. And I mean, that goes back to me working with the marketing manager saying, hey, have you thought about doing this? Hey, I noticed that. Can we fix this? Um, Creating a culture of belonging. We are a group of, and we tend to, the agents that we hire tend to be a more mature workforce. So some of the things that are important to our workforce may not be as important to a younger workforce. So, maybe growth and career growth is not as important, but also recognizing that, hey, if I want to, we've got somebody, our marketing manager, for example, she wants to move over to the side of um, helping people with retirement planning. And so she's taken it upon herself to get certified to do this. She's starting to train with our VP in order to learn how to do that side of the business. We can, once she is ready to fully move over to that side, we can backfill her role. That's a way to help support somebody in terms of their career goals, whereas the rest of us kind of were hired, we've been hired on, and I think it's safe to say that we're happy for the foreseeable future in doing the roles that we've been hired to do.
Well, it sounds like you've really made the most of using what you have in terms of making people feel like they belong and that they're important and their needs matter. It's so interesting to have that conversation because so often it seems like leaders just go, we don't have the money, and so they don't want to talk about it. And it's sort of like a cop out in a way. And you're showing that there's so many ways to accomplish this. And I also love how you are helping people develop in place that they can pursue the things that interest them, their next step of growth. What does that tend to do when you can help people find their path? Like, what are the outcomes and results of that?
So part of it is the whole being seen, being heard. But part of it is just helping them as individuals, but also the company be future forward. Like,
Hmm.
what does our company look like in the future? Is it moving this person into this role? If the answer is yes, well, then future forward includes backfilling that person. But also, for somebody else watching this happen, they may say, huh, I never really thought of moving into a different role, but this shows me that there is the opportunity, but also the possibility to do that. So it's
Yeah. So you're helping the company grow and evolve, helping people grow and evolve within themselves, and it's also a great example for others to show pathways for their development.
correct. And even just the opening up their mind to the possibility of, hey, I don't have to stay in this role. There might be other roles that I could consider within the organization. And
Hmm.
knowing that they will be supported in having conversations around that, whether it's, with me, whether it's with the VP, whether it's with the owner of the company, knowing that they will be supported in, considering and or pursuing a new role.
It sounds like a really wonderful place to work and grow. So, surely there must have been challenges and setbacks, Linda. So, can you name an example or a time where you felt like you struggled to, or you had a failure or a challenge, but was a really good growth or learning opportunity or shaped how you do things after that?
I haven't been there long enough. I started in March to have experienced a failure. However, I'll go back to the example of um, aligning, I guess, helping the company get clear on what is their messaging and making sure that social media and whatever marketing materials that we're putting out there support that. Um, that was a case of, are they going to, there was a concern, are they going to understand the importance of this and therefore the buy in to do this? But again, it was showing them, hey, there are free ways to do this. LinkedIn, it doesn't cost to build a profile on. Facebook, it doesn't cost to build a profile on. Um, just again, making sure that if there's a bio about the leaders one place, that same bio is in another place. Those are all free things to do, but really important in terms of candidates today are savvy. They're looking at your social media presence. They're, looking at hey, I've never heard of this company. Let me look and see what they're all about. So it was a challenge in terms of making sure that they understood the importance of it, but then getting the buy-in to say, hey, we can do this with not that much effort and also very little to no cost.
So, you've done a good job at making use of what's available to you, given your small business and a certain level of resources. So, what's the biggest challenge that you're seeing right now, either in terms of supporting your team or for your organization and and as they're going forward?
So right now, I'm pretty much heads down. Now that all of that has kind of been put in place, I'm pretty much heads down in terms of recruiting independent agents to join our company. So it's just the whole, you know, there are people who indicate interest, but then you talk to them and either they disqualify themselves or they're disqualified. And I'm up against a clock because by the end of July, it's very hard to move new contracts over. And then from October to December, there's a lockout. So even if
Oh.
somebody wanted to join our company, um, nothing will happen until January because there's a lockout period in terms of Medicare and Medicare supplements.
Hmm. Okay, so you're working up against a timeline. Well,
Yes.
hopefully this podcast will maybe send some great candidates your way just in time.
That would be wonderful. And certainly, if another small company is interested in picking my brain or sharing ideas, I am very open to that as well.
Yeah, and I'll give you a moment to share your contact information in a minute. But last question before we do that, um, what what kind of what's your next area of growth that you're looking forward to, or what opportunity are you excited about right now?
So once we hit critical mass, our critical mass for new agents is 20. Once we hit critical mass, my goal is to hire somebody to join my team, whether it's a recruiter or a sourcer. So I want to start building out the team. But in the meantime, we're kind of creating, um, I guess, a unique scenario within the organization, our parent organization, in the sense that nobody else is doing this. Nobody else has a recruiting director. They're just kind of winging it, and maybe an agent here or there, or an agent says, "Hey, I've got 5 agents, and I'm looking to retire. Can you take them on?" Like there's no formal processes. So I'm hoping to be the poster child for anybody else in the organization who wants to do something like this.
Wonderful. Well, good luck with that. It sounds like your company's been very strategic about putting you in the right place and in the right role and doing the right things to help them with their success and growth. So good for you and good luck with that. So
Thank
how,
you.
so Linda, how would people contact you if they wanted to talk about any of these things?
So my work email is Linda, Linda, at Y, S as in Sam, M as in Mary, A, T as in Tom.com. So Linda at ysmat.com. My cell phone number is always the best way to get a hold of me. That number is 919-454-1768. And then if you wanted to call into the office, that number is 336-870-4300, and my extension is 105.
Well, it was great chatting with you, Linda, and learning about how you're creating culture and success and a sense of belonging for your team there. Linda Haywood, Recruiting Program Director at Regal Group, Inc. Thanks so much for joining us today, Linda. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on our Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. We hope you've been inspired by today's stories and strategies for building stronger, more resilient communities. Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing through every challenge to become bigger and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. Stay connected, stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.